it's your turn, you've got that. Okay? And we'll do it with you. Cool. Awesome.
You can sit with your family.
Yeah.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. The opening melody that we'll be singing, you can find the words. It's just one line on page 8. Ma yafeh hayom, how beautiful is this day. Shabbat Shalom.
Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Let's try that together. Ma yafeh hayom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom.
So glad you came out to join us tonight, and everybody who's tuning in remotely, Shabbat Shalom, welcome. Just a few logistics, because I know we have a few new faces here. If you need to use restrooms at any time, you go out towards the top of the stairs, make a right, go all the way to the end. There's restrooms there. There's a water fountain on the way. Feel free to at any point to just get up and do what you got to do. Please make sure that if you have a cell phone on you, that it's silenced or on vibrate, so that we continue to keep the sanctity of the space. Also, it's our policy to keep our masks on while we're in the building. But if you need to take a little break for any reason, there's some doors that are out here or out here. These are also emergency exits if you need to make a quick getaway. There you go. And tonight, as we're settling into Shabbat, we're going to be exploring a lot about what it means to see, to truly see. You know, in our portion, Torah portion, we have this scene where Abraham's servant Eliezer is looking for a wife for Abraham's son Isaac. And he looks and he sees that Rebekah is the one. He sees that Rebekah is the one. Not everybody, the rabbis say, would be able to see, but Eliezer put out a test for himself that we'll talk a little bit about later to really see what was in front of him. And Shabbat is really a time where we see, we look in a different kind of way. A nice way to think about it is what happens when we dream at night. When you're dreaming, most of the time we're unconscious when we're dreaming. We're in whatever the dream world we're in, and we're going ahead and we're doing whatever it is. But occasionally, some of us might have the opportunity to wake up while we are still in the dream, a lucid dream. Suddenly, in a moment, we realize this is a dream. And suddenly we see the surroundings around us in a totally different way. All of a sudden, we're able to have a certain kind of freedom, a certain kind of connection to our world, because we realize it's all our own psyche. It's all a mirror for us. And we're able to look in a different way. What would it be like for us to, in our waking life here and now, to wake up? What if we each one of us, the way we see our world and go through our day and go through our week, are kind of going along, but we're not really seeing what's around us. We're not seeing the glory of the people around us, the glory of the world around us. What would it be like if we woke up and we could truly see? And that's what Shabbat is about. It's a wake up. And in fact, a little bit later in Lecha Dodi, in the Psalm, we're also going to be singing Hit Orari, wake up, because the light is all around you. So this is also a very special Shabbat in that we are celebrating the Bar Mitzvah of Brady Ward. And it's our pleasure to invite up the Ward family to lead us in the lighting of candles. So come on up. And one of the reasons that one of the midrash, the interpretations for why we bring in Shabbat with light is because it's the fixing of the eyes. It's a way of seeing in a different way. And after the Word family leads us in the blessing, there's this custom before saying the blessing to wave the light, the fire into our eyes, to cover our eyes. And you can almost imagine that what we're doing almost like is cleaning out our eyes, all the filters that are keeping us from seeing the glory of what's around us. Okay. Just squeeze. There's no safety. You just squeeze. Yeah.
Oh, I can do it.
You can do that. Yeah.
Okay, so I can totally do it.
Please stand as we bring in Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. We open our eyes. Look at this beautiful family. And you too, Heather. She's part of the family. You guys can sit down. Thank you. Shalom Aleichem can be found on page 7.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Yod, Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ruachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Yom, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Yod, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Yod, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please turn to page 18, Lecha Dodi. We welcome the presence of Shabbat, this sacred time, this Palestine time, like we're welcoming a bride.
Yalalala Lecha Dodi, Yalalala Likrat Kala, Yalalala B'nei Shabbat Likrat לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, כי השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתפילה. יאללה לה 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 לך תודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. יאללה לה 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 לך תודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלחם, כי אם מקור הברכה מראש מקדם להסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה. יאללה לה 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 לך תביא, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. יאללה לה 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 לך תביא, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
Page 19.
התעוררי
Means wake up.
התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי.
Open your eyes.
אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. יאללה לה 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 לך תודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. יאללה לה 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 לך תודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל.
Please stand as we greet the Shabbat bride as she comes in through our hearts.
ושלום עצרת בלם, גם בשיחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה.
Enter, O peace.
בואי חלה, בואי חלה. יאללה לה 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 לך תודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. יאללה לה 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 לך תודי, Ya la 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 likrat kala. Ya la 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 Penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat lekabela.
When we open our eyes fully and are awake to the presence of the One all around us, most of the time that leads to joy. But sometimes we're holding loss in our hearts and pain, and when we open our eyes, sometimes we open to that too. And no matter how much we can intuit that this too is a part of life, it still hurts. So if you're here tonight in our sanctuary or remotely in your home and you're here and holding loss, thinking about loved ones who are not here with us, we say to you, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem, may the Holy One comfort you, and may our connection and community and song be able to keep you connected as you take this journey. Chatzi Kaddish is on page 22.
Yitgada ve'yitgada shemei Rabba ve'alma divrach yerutei ve'amlech malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala uvizman kari ve'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'me'omaya yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitadar ve'yitaleh ve'yitalal Shemei dekudesha brechu le'ela mikol berchata ve'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yama v'imru amen.
We bless together on 23. Together.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
As I sit here in the silence of my room, the moon hangs high in the window, smooth and white like a river stone. Against a darkened sky, the blackened silhouettes of branches bare are kissed by moonlight. Through another window, a silvery web catches the light. Still and quiet, the night folds in like a blanket, and peace washes over me. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Page 27.
Avat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Torah mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al כן ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי החיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו והם יגע יומם ולילה יומם ולילה ויבטך תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
The central part of our prayer service tonight is the Shema, the one line from Deuteronomy that calls upon us to sink into a deeper relationship with this moment. And the word Shema, some of us know, means hear, listen, but hear as in to understand, like I hear you, I get you. The Zohar, the mystical book of Kabbalah, says that Shema is actually an acronym. Shin, Mem, Ayin spells the letters of Shema. Se'u marom enechem. Se'u, lift up on high, enechem, your eyes. Lift your eyes up on high. That this sense of hearing is really also about seeing, about looking to marom. Now it doesn't say shamayim, the heavens, as in the physical space up, but look to the most exalted place. Look beyond what is here in front of you to see the depth of what's in front of you, to hear the depth, to know that we are part of this glorious energy, this unfolding creation, deep with intelligence, deep with love. Lift your head on high, your eyes on high, and listen. I want to invite up Brady Ward. In a moment after we do Shema together, he will lead us in the continuing of the Shema, the V'ahavta. For the Shema, you can sit or you can stand according to your custom.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בחיקך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם אות על ידך וחיו עוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחוץ לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue our service with Mi Chamocha prayer, page 37.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. לא תהילות עושה פלא, לא תהילות עושה
We'll continue our service on page 39. Just a reminder to keep our masks on for the comfort and safety of everyone in the sanctuary. Thank you.
Ufros aleinu שלום לך ופרוס עלינו סוכת, סוכת, שלום לך. ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. Page 41, Vishamru. We observe and guard Shabbat as a sign of the presence of the One in every moment.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ולדורות.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות את השבת לדורות ולדורות. ביני ובין בני ישראל לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ,
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. ויום השביעי
That's today.
Shabbat v'nefesh, Shabbat
God
v'nefesh,
ensouled.
Shabbat v'nefesh, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל
את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם.
So this image from this week's Parsha that we started with of Abraham's servant Eliezer looking for a wife for Abraham's son Isaac, and the imagery is all about water, because Rebecca is at a well and he holds this test in his mind. If not only when I ask her for some water, does she give me some water for the well, but she also feeds my camels, then she's the one. She's the one because she goes above and beyond. And what's interesting is the word for well, for water, is mayan. And if you look at the words in Hebrew, mayan, it's mem, ayin, which means eye. Ayin is eye. From the eye. That water, that well, that life spring, that ability to be nourished, to see each other, comes from the eye, from the ability to see. In a moment, we're going to enter our silent Amidah, our prayer, and we'll do the prayer out loud together for the first few blessings, and then we'll have some silent time. But in that silent time, I want you to reflect on, even as you might be perusing the liturgy, praying what's in the book, how do I see in a deep way? In this moment, can I close my eyes and see in a whole different way? Just let that be a question. It doesn't have to have an answer, but a question that allows us to go inside. Please stand for the Amidah on page 43. We're on page 45. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, פוקד שרה, page 47, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדום מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום, הללויה סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. You can continue silently all the way until the bottom of page 59. Again, holding that question, what does it mean to really see? And when you're finished with your prayer, you may be seated.
Create a pure heart in me, great Spirit. Create a pure heart in me. Create a pure heart in me, great Spirit. Create a pure heart in me, and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within, and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within. Create a pure heart in me, great Spirit. Create a pure heart in me. Create a pure heart in me, great Spirit. Create a pure heart in me, and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within, and renew a true soul
Shabbat Shalom. Everybody doing all right? Good. So, how do we respond when tragedy strikes? Sudden loss of a job, the death of a loved one, the dissolution of a marriage. Sometimes we find ourselves in positions that we never could have imagined, and we're asked to respond. Sometimes life deals us cards that may not be major challenges, but minor annoyances, and how we deal with them may determine the future quality of a relationship or the dream that we have for ourselves or those we care about. One of the things that I appreciate the most about our Torah is that our biblical characters are never perfect. They make mistakes. They're clearly on a journey of growth as human beings. This core message is an important one. All of us have the capacity to become more kind, thoughtful, just, and compassionate human beings, and through our life journeys, can increasingly bring more goodness and blessing into the world. The critical element that determines our growth in this direction is how we respond to and learn from our life experiences, no matter how exalted, challenging, or painful. The framework that the Torah asks us to consider in approaching challenging life experiences is that of a test. Our rabbinic tradition tells that Abraham was given 10 major tests in his life, which included the binding of his son Isaac on the altar. These were tests that deepened his faith and his ability to be a blessing in the world. In this week's portion, Abraham's servant Eliezer sets out to find a wife for Abraham's son Isaac. And in trying to determine which woman would carry on Abraham's legacy of kindness and generosity, Eliezer sets up a test for the woman that we would later know as Rebekah. Upon arriving into town with his camels and seeing women fetching water from a well, Eliezer creates a test. If he asks a woman for a drink of water, and she not only gives it to him, but offers water to his camels, then she's a suitable match for his son Isaac. This would be a tremendous show of kindness and generosity because according to the Midrash, a camel who is depleted from water after a long journey requires 25,000 gallons of water. And Eliezer had 10 camels. And in ancient times, one needed to walk down a series of steps with a bucket to get water from a well. So you can imagine how much work it would be for Rebekah to water the camels of a total stranger. And she passes the test, and she becomes Isaac's wife. Now, whether the test comes from God or from another person, the idea is the same. Challenging life events are not viewed as random phenomena, but as opportunities to grow, to be more kind, just, and compassionate people. By viewing these events as tests, they put the focus on our response. How does our response reflect the person we want to continue to grow into? When we're in pain, or scared, or hurt, do we shut down and retreat? Do we react with anger and vengeance? Do we try to create a story in our minds about the challenging event that distance ourselves from our own pain and that of others? Or do we do the difficult work of being present and compassionate for ourselves and others, no matter how much it hurts? To look for any possible way to alleviate the burden or the suffering from those involved. To ask the question, how can this experience, like every experience, be an opportunity to bring more light into the world, even as we're surrounded by darkness. The most clear metaphor that I have for this dynamic is working out at the gym. The way we get physically strong is through engaging resistance. We need to be physically present with weight and the pain that comes from pressing against it. Challenging life events are like the weights we push against. But in these situations, it requires mental, emotional, and spiritual presence. If we engage these events with the qualities that we want to grow into, then we strengthen those human qualities in ourselves. In the story with Eliezer and Rebekah, the Talmud teaches that when Rebekah went down into the well, Eliezer witnessed the water rising up to meet her. This miracle showed him right away that she was special, and he probably knew right away that she was the one. And yet, he still had the need to test her. If we take a cosmic view of the situation, maybe the test ultimately was not for Eliezer, but for Rebekah. It wasn't enough that the water rose up to meet her. She needed to go through the laborious work of watering the camels to grow her own capacity for kindness and generosity, to grow her own neshama, her own soul. I believe that this is the Torah's invitation to each and every one of us. Whatever situations we find ourselves in that cause deep sadness, fear, frustration, and anger, or overwhelm, we're invited to view the new situation, the situation, as a test or an opportunity to embrace our humanity and bring the people that we aspire to be into the present moment. And through valuing and taking seriously our responses to life's challenges, we take another meaningful step on the journey to our own redemption. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue our service with a blessing for healing, the Mishaberach prayer. And you can find the words to this on page 63 in the middle. There's 3 Mishaberach prayers on page 63. We're doing the middle one. And I want to invite you before we start, whether you're here in the sanctuary or viewing remotely, if there's anybody who you'd like to bring into our healing circle and bring physical well-being, emotional, mental well-being from mental illness or addiction, please say the names of people that you'd like to bring. We'll just go around and you can just say them out loud, the different names.
Mishaberach avoti
Please stand for the Aleinu prayer on page 64. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 73. And it's interesting that for the Kaddish, the Mourner's Kaddish prayer, because if you've looked at the words, you'll see that there's nothing here at all about death or about loss. It's just about the exaltedness of God. And the Kaddish prayer is used in many places throughout the service, not even for mourners. So why in the Middle Ages did the rabbis decide to make words of pronouncing exaltedness and holiness of God be the way that we connect into those who we've lost? And one possible reason for it is that holiness, Kedusha, God's presence, is really found in relationship. It's found in our connections with each other. And those connections don't go away when we lose somebody that we love. Those connections are ever present, are ever alive. That ever since we came into contact with the one that we love, they have been a part of us and have always been a part of us. And so maybe the exaltedness and the holiness we proclaim in the Mourner's Kaddish is about acknowledging that connection. In our synagogue family tonight, we're commemorating the following yahrzeits: Joachim Anschel, Joseph Barron, Douglas Bendel, Sherry Burns, Marjorie Brager, Glenn Thomas Church II. By the way, and if I say the name of your loved one, whether you're remote or here in the sanctuary, please stand. Jeff Cohen, Jack Cohen, Jacob Duhan, Ruth Ettinger, Hai Faneroff, Stanley Finkelstein, Leonard Golkin, Joseph Nathan Gordon, Laverne Grant, George Grossman, Shirley Hanman, Morris Hoffman, Nathan Horowitz, Patricia Langliers, Lillian Lasher, Louis Lawrence, Janice Miriam Lazarson, Joanne Margolis, Philip Michael Meisel, Israel Issi Nachshen, Flora Nagli, Dr. Richard Penkava, Tilly Pollack, David Reich, William Monk Robinson, Sarah Rosoff, Helen Rubin, Stephen Schwid, Howard Shirane, Edith Sherman, Sanford Silverman, Morris Swearin, Malcolm Warner, Louis Wayne, Paul Zuckerman, Samuel Zuckerman. We're also commemorating the Shloshim, the 30-day period, for Dr. Mark Anapol, father of our member Steve Anapol. We're also in the 1 year, within the 1 year period for Beverly Adler, the mother of our member Mark Adler, and Leland Weeder, my father, and also B. Wool, the mother of Evan Wool, our member. Is there anybody else that we're saying Kaddish for today? Okay, so please stand in honor of, or sit, whatever your custom is, for Mourner's Kaddish. We're on page 73.
Yitkadosh Shemei Rabbah, Ve'alma Divra Kirutei Ve'amlich Malchutei, B'chayechon u'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, B'agalau Bizman Kariv Imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Olamei Olmaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei D'Kudisha B'rechu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemai, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav,
hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru
amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So we have some wonderful things coming up in our synagogue community that we want to make sure you know about, and all of this is on the website. The first Friday Shabbat festival, November 5th, 4:30 to 7 o'clock p.m. It's the first Friday of every month. Join our whole TBE SOC community for food trucks, hands-on activities for all ages, inspiring service with the band of Milk and Honey. You won't want to miss this awesome event. It's funded in part thanks to a grant from the USCJ's Pacific Southwest region. Delicious food trucks generously sponsored by the Jager family in honor of Jacob's bar mitzvah. And this month's theme is gratitude. And the Shabbat service will be streamed on Facebook Live. Also beginning on Sunday, November 7th, a week from Sunday, is a magical member tea. Free to Be Sisters members, and you can join and register to the event today. If you're not a Be Sisters member, for $36, but everybody can participate. It's a Zoom-only event with games, door prizes, swag bags, and you can see the Be Sisters webpage for more information and to register. And then following that, Tuesday, November 9th, is the first of a three-part series, Foundations of a Thoughtful Judaism, a class that I'll be teaching, which it's a new curriculum created by the Shalom Hartman Institute to explore and make accessible the most compelling and deepest questions in Jewish thought, as well as demonstrating the principles and debates that underlie our Jewish heritage. So you can register on the temple website for that. And finally, our KISS service, Kol Isha Shabbat service, all women-led Shabbat service, inside and outside the box. It's going to be a hybrid service, in person here in the synagogue and online on Zoom on January 15th. And the reason why we're talking about it now is because you can sign up now to participate in this annual, popular, inspiring, musical, all women-led Shabbat service. There are speaking and non-speaking parts, opportunity to serve as greeters, or to dance at the luncheon. So to request a part or for more information, you can contact Wendy Lupel, the KISS Task Force Chair, and that information is on our website. So lots of great stuff to participate in. And finally, here in our sanctuary, we are celebrating the bar mitzvah of Brady Ward for a beautiful Shabbat morning service. That will be a true pleasure to have your leadership, Brady. And that will be at 10 a.m. And at the same time, there will also be a conservative Shabbat service in the chapel on the ground floor beginning at 9:15 a.m. Also, online Torah study at 9 a.m. Lots of great stuff. Okay, so it's our pleasure to invite up the Ward family as Brady leads us in Kiddush. Let me get you the book.
You can take that off if you'd like. I'll hold this for you.
Also, if the prayer book is easier too.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon chinhelanu Zikaron lema'asein bereshit Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh Zecher litziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim V'shabbat kodshecha be'avava uvratzon chinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha-Shabbat.
Oh, it's that You can uncover the motzi. You want to do this with your family?
I mean, your mask. I called it a kippah.
You first. You're still leading it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for celebrating.
That was awesome.
Nice job. Just the beginning.